sure why.
Are you going on a trip?
It's like, go live. Norwegian Cruise Lines is calling you. Who knows?
Are you waiting for a quote? Are you going away?
Oh, Lord. So,
hello and welcome to Spirit Speaks. If you're just tuning in, Crystal is popping in and off. There she is.
I had to get back out because Norwegian Cruise Lines decided that they wanted to call me, and then I couldn't hear anybody. So I had to get off and then come back in. So we're good
Maybe
now.
we should have answered it. What if it was like a free cruise?
I mean, like, maybe it was. Maybe they're like, today's your lucky day.
Maybe. They can leave a message.
That's right. I'm okay with that. Ben just walked in. So
what's up?
How are you? Nothing, actually. There's a lot of stuff that's up. There's a lot of stuff that's up that I'm like, but at the same time, it's like, it's all going to be, I love angel sequence numbers. I cannot tell you how much I love my team because they are just bombarding me lately with the numbers, and they're all like spot on for everything. And it's amazing that at this stage in the game, I still question everything so much as it comes through, because there's like all these transitions that we're trying to go through. And you've heard the story about wanting to move and all these things. Ben got offered. Hi, Sophia, Heather, Glenda, Trisha, and Tracy. Hello. Ben got offered an amazing job somewhere, but it's not where we want to be. And now I'm like freaking the F out about it because I'm like, should we take the job? Should we not take the job? Because it's completely in a different place. And I'm like, it seems so weird to me because it's like so good. It's too good almost, but they want to do it like now. And it's not giving us any time to really decide. And so he turned it down, but then they contacted him today and they were like, we'll pay you more. And I'm like, what the actual crap? Like, am I misreading this? Like, I don't know. It's a great experience.
That's abundance. Either way, that's like proving that you guys are shifting energy. We're in the middle of Mercury and Venus retrograde. Venus goes for a while, but we're in the middle of Mercury, and there's an opportunity to reset, realign, revisit. You both have been doing a lot of work and you're calling in abundance. And, either way, even if you don't choose that timeline right now, it's proving what you're attracting.
Yes.
And if you want, we can pull a few cards or ask the pendulum.
I mean, like, I'm going to say, yes, please. I will have you. I asked my pendulum. And as we know, like, I use my necklace as my pendulum, but I have found that I get conflicting answers with my, and I feel like it's more my energy that I'm calling on. I don't have cards. We all know this. I have cards that I bought for my son. But when it comes to me, I think I'm conflicting. I think my energy messes with my answers when it has to do with me. And so once again, I think it's my own inconsistencies and my own lack of interfering with, I guess, what that is. And so I'm just like, for the love of, because once again, those angel sequence numbers are like, trust, have faith, we've got you protected, it's all going to work out, this is an amazing opportunity, blah blah blah. And I'm like overwhelmed with this because it just seems so fast, and it seems a little bit weird how it's coming up. It feels weird.
The thing is, when we're adjusting, like, you've been through your fair share of shit, and when we're adjusting from surviving to thriving, it's really uncomfortable. And when we start to manifest things really quickly, it can be like awkward and hard to trust that. And it's really hard. A big theme right now is the whole moving from my will to thy will and trusting the cosmos and, showing up for ourselves and doing the best we can and preparing, and then allowing ourselves to have grace and luck and receive from the universe. Hey, Jennifer, welcome.
I was just going to say, hello, everybody's well. Hello, Carrie. Yes to everything you're saying. And I think it's like one of those, I think what's uncomfortable is this is the first time that I think things actually feel good and stable and secure. And I think that in itself is throwing me off because I have such a chaotic background of things shifting and changing and feeling like instability is taking place. And so it's almost like now that I've spent all this dang time over the past year manifesting all these things, and they're like, here you go, boof, opportunities. And it's just it's a little overwhelming because, like I said, it's not where we wanted it to be at all. It's a completely different space. And I'm just like, ugh, it's like, that's
Is
it.
it warmer?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You were wanting warmer.
I did. It is. It is. It is. It is. And there's amazing, amazing things. Like I said, this is kind of his dream job, to be completely honest. And it will place me in a part of the United States that also will be very good for me and my clientele as well. It's just the transition phase that freaks me out. It's the transition. So there's a lot of things that make me nervous. One, not knowing the area, not having any time to like decide, being like, oh, we're going to fly you out next week. Like, oh, anxiety taking on.
Well, if you're just tuning in, Crystal and her partner, Ben, have an interesting potential for a work opportunity. And we're going to take some looks at it and we're going to pull some cards and ask some questions. But on the back end, Crystal's been manifesting a new place to live that's much warmer, that will be good for her spirit and her clientele and her body. And so now there's an opportunity where it's showing up. And hey, Evelyn, thanks for, the whole surviving to thriving. Like, we're all used to just surviving and having to micromanage ourselves and not trusting in the universe when things show up. And we're at this point where we're being conditioned to think like, if it's too good to be true, it is. And sometimes it is, but sometimes we really do get a bone here and there, and we get some opportunities to shift and to grow. And so we always get to choose. It is always up to us what feels best. But when we do the work, certain opportunities line up. Luck is preparation meeting the opportunity. If you're showing up for yourself each day and you're doing the things and you're manifesting, then something lucky is going to spring, and there's an opportunity to cross that path and choose if you want to jump in or not.
Tracy says, wow, I think your face says you should go. Maybe there isn't time to think, so you don't deny the opportunity. There isn't time to think. Like, they literally threw it at him. And I think that's what's freaking me out, because I like to have a minute to analytically process. And that we've talked about that balance, and we talk about how we fight that, internal knowing and that intuition part of us. We fight that with our thought process sometimes, and that's kind of what we're trying to hone in on, is how to balance those things correctly. And it's really funny how, you guys get to see this play out. Mandee's like always put together, I feel like. I love her and her energy, but Crystal's a hot mess a lot of times, and I share the hot mess.
We're all hot messes. I just have gotten much better at being peace and being like, well, this is life and shit's gonna go down all day, every day. And I can upset about it, I can worry about it or not. You know? And where does my precious energy go?
Either way,
I'm a gypsy soul. I've lived in like 33 houses and I'm like 36. Yeah. So I'm really like good with transition. Though I am too. House, and it will be great one day. That'll come in its due perfect time also. I'm like, fuck it. There's so many lifetimes where I couldn't leave my little nestle, or I was chained to God knows what, or, we were all married off. Also, spirit or angels are coming in, and they're just showing too that this is really exciting for Ben. And there's a lot happening for many masculines and divine masculines who have been working hard on their own work. And there is this beautiful energy to the divine masculine energy within all of us that does want to be able to provide for ourselves. And then particularly with someone, who's been working so hard, like your beautiful partner, like this is a nice opportunity coming in. That's a reward from all the work that he's been doing. And a lot of, divine masculines really like to be able to step into that role. And it's important for us to allow that sometimes.
Yep. Yes. And I agree with everything you're saying. I do. I agree with everything you're saying wholeheartedly. And I'm just kind of like taking a breath and being a part of we made a choice and we stuck to that choice and we felt good about that choice. And then he was contacted today and they were like, so Tesla really wants to up the ante on you. And this is what they're saying, Tesla. And they really want to up this, and it's a supervisor role. And like I said, it's a great opportunity for him. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, but is it a good opportunity for me?
And I'm totally going to leave out as a soul sister because, like, I don't know, 6 months or a year ago, you were like, I could totally go live somewhere by myself for 6 months and Ben and I'll be great and fine. So you always
it still would be, actually.
There's always room for transition and for growing and, you know,
Right.
taking time and coming together. And Sophia said, Tesla, Texas. Danny Marshburn just moved to Dallas, Texas, and she's opened Infinite Yoga and Wellness there and is loving it. And she's one of our sea goddesses.
Texas is a beautiful place for a lot of people. And I am seeing so many spiritual people go so West Coast. And it's really all over the place, to be completely honest with you. It's Texas, it's California, it's Oregon, it's all of those, Washington State, Nevada, it's all of those places. And I'm like, ooh, something cool must be going on over there. And so, yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff that's happening. And also there's a lot of cool ghosty experiences over there. That gets me going. I love it.
Is that where it is?
Spiritual.
Is it in Texas?
No, it's not in Texas.
Oh,
I will send you a message afterwards for reasons we're not posting this or saying it live anywhere for right now, because there are people who watch me and I don't want everybody knowing my business right now, but I promise I'll keep everybody in the know when the time is right. So I'll put that out there, but I will tell you, Mandee, after we're done, I'll text you.
I honor that. Thank you. I feel special.
I actually had a text waiting to send you when he got the job offer last week. I typed it all up, and this morning when I came on to connect with you, it was still typed up. I just forgot to send it. So it was really funny. I was like, oh, you were the first person I was going to let in on the information. And it was so funny because I was like, no, something held me back for a moment. I was like, okay, let's take a deep breath and sit with it.
Special. And yeah, sit in that. Let it be, you know, your juice for a while. Stew in it a little bit and like see what, you know, what feels best and most in alignment. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But if it does, that's amazing and great. Jennifer made a comment where she said, may I please ask Midge a question? So Jennifer is my buddy, and we went to a party on Saturday, and we were hanging out, and she said, yeah, I just love the show that you do with your friend Crystal. What is she? The Mid what? The what? I just call her Midge. And I was like, I love that, Mandee and Midge.
I honor that. I like that.
That's where that came from.
I have been named many things in my life, and I appreciate that one.
I said, I think Crystal's gonna love Midge, and I can't tell it.
I do. I feel like it should be a shirt. Mandee and Midge.
We can make that happen. We will
go
talk
live.
That.
And I thank you, Seth, so very much. He's a childhood friend. He went to school with me, and he's an amazing human being. I love him, and thank you for tuning in, Seth. This is not his cup of tea. So the fact that he's here watching us, even for a second, it might be. Thank you, Seth. I appreciate you. Yes, you can ask me a question, Jennifer. I would love to answer your question. So I will wait for that. And I'm going to go back up to, thank you guys. Congratulations. Carrie says, I really have been working so hard on the things, manifesting, being grateful, all of the things. Saturday, I was voicing how grateful I was for all of it, especially my little familiar Betty Lou. Oh no. And then my dog killed her before my eyes. Holy crap. Oh. So sorry. Carrie, holy crap. I am so sorry you had to experience that. Holy Lord. I wasn't expecting that to be what you said. I'm so sorry for reading that like that, guys. Oh Lord. So Mandee.
I got you.
I was going to say, I'm going to take a moment on this one because that hit me.
That's hard. I'm so sorry to hear that. And is Betty Lou a cat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Betty Lou, she's a beautiful black, like mid-hair kitten cat. She's a beautiful, beautiful animal.
No.
Oh my Lord, Carrie, I am so sorry.
Oh, Carrie, that is awful. We are sending you just so much love. Okay.
I am.
So I pulled the first card that I pulled for you is the Ever Unfolding Rose. Cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. Some of the hardest things with grief that come through. And it's interesting because I was called today to my Apache Tears, which are a really beautiful stone for grief. And I actually have a little write up on what they're all about. And then we'll go into this card a little bit. So for Carrie and for anybody who has a hurting heart, if you're looking for like a stone to soothe you, Apache Tears are wonderful for that. They are for psychic attunement, protection, and grounding. Apache Tears is a highly protective and grounding stone. It can be used to cleanse old wounds and heal past pain. Apache Tears aid in overcoming depression and are helpful for surfacing grief held in the emotional body. It releases negative emotions and it assists in forgiveness, which in turn removes blockages within the body. Apache Tears is also said to raise our level of awareness so that we may be able to sense threatening people, situations, or energies all around us. Physically, Apache Tears are said to calm the nervous system and to detoxify the body. So for anybody looking for a little support, that's an incredible crystal recommendation that helps with that. And something that happens sometimes when we're doing our work, and just as I was saying in the beginning of the show, Earth School is not fun and it sucks a lot of the time. And we can become super conscious and super powerful and super wonderful and amazing manifestors. We still have to go through all of the human things that happen all the time to us and for us. Each and every soul that chooses to come here, whether it's a loved one, whether it's a child, a spouse, a best friend, an animal, a plant, every soul that chooses to come here, their soul chooses to come here and their souls choose to leave here. The Apache Tears, what those are showing too is, there is a big opportunity for forgiveness because, your dog is someone who you love just as much. And so, this is not an easy thing to go through at all. And what happens is when these really horrible things happen, sometimes it's because we're strong enough and our hearts can open enough so that we can allow it to happen for us and we can grow into more forgiveness and more understanding and more unattachment and saying, well, thank you, you sweet little soul, for coming and being with me as long as you could and bringing me as much joy as you could. And I send you as much love as you choose to transition on. And this is going to happen over and over and over in all of our lives. And death and birth are very, very sacred. And the time that we get with one another and each and every being truly is a gift. And sometimes things happen very traumatically. I'm showing that spirit shows, like, when things happen really traumatically, a lot of the time our souls pop out of the body before we can feel like any pain. And I'm seeing a lot of that action happening in your situation. And they're also showing that even though this happened and it is terrible and not fun, you're going to surprise yourself a little bit with your resilience and how much you're going to grow and how much you're going to expand through this. Let yourself, cry when you need to, but also know there are still good things happening and you are still doing all of the work. And this was a shot and not fun, but this is happening for you and you are going to keep going and rising and everything is going to work out and be okay. And your angels are just sending you a whole lot of love. And I'm just hearing a lot of music, soft music kind of playing in the background. So if music is one of your medicines, play it often and let yourself rock yourself. Crystal, how you doing over there, buddy?
I am good. This is the empathic space that Crystal has. It's always been a thing with animals specifically. That's always been my thing. Animals. And it's like, I remember the very first time that I understood things in a different way. I was probably about 5 years old. And we lived in this apartment complex, and somebody had hit this orange cat, and it was laying on the side of the road. And I remote viewed through the cat what had happened and how it had passed. And I didn't understand at the time, but I knew I was so confused as to why I couldn't separate myself every single time my mom would drive by, and we'd have to, like, anywhere we were going, we had to drive by this poor cat. But I knew at that moment at 5 or 6 years old that there was something a little bit different about me, because it's not just an animal on the side of the road. I sometimes hop into situations that I should, I feel probably block myself from, but at the same time, there's a reason that I'm experiencing it. And so when I've learned when I hop in, like in that situation, Carrie, do not be sorry. Do not be sorry. The reason they give me things is so I have the ability to understand on even the smallest microscopic level what you and or the animals have experienced in that moment in time. And I have to tell you, I'm sorry for you because that's what it was that I was feeling. I was feeling your pain, your anguish, and your stress in that moment. And like I said, please understand, I don't know what you went through. We're talking microscopic, even though I have the ability to feel, I don't know what you experienced specifically. But I am going to tell you, like, does your dog have issues with like hearing or seeing? Does he have some kind of an issue with like senses? Because there's a whole thing being presented to me. Carrie says, me too, Crystal. My grandpa was a veterinarian and I've always been an animal lover. I was the cat whisperer. I feel terrible for upsetting you. You didn't end up, no, this is part of the gifts, hon. Like I said, this is part of the gifts. But I feel like your dog was startled. They're making me feel like the dog was startled. And I don't know. This is like a great dog. I feel like he's a little touchy, like Rocky, because Rocky has issues. We talk about Rocky's issues all the time. Like he was, you know, he had the things happen. He was abused. We make jokes about him in my house because we think he's blind. He barks at everything, like really viciously barks at people who are walking down the stairs, even though we're the only ones in the house and he should know that it's us. He like very, very viciously has this bark. We've learned that's part Great Dane, but we also think he has a problem with his eyesight. And they're almost making me feel like your dog got startled and didn't know, essentially in that moment, because his senses were confused, that it was the cat. I do want you to know that they're almost making me feel like, you know, might not make sense to you to hear that, because they're making me feel like there were things that happened, which I'm not going to repeat because whatever, but they're making me feel like there are things that happened in that moment that would make you question maybe as to why that would be the interpretation of events. Probably because they got along for a period of time and the dog knew the cat and all of these things. But they're really making me feel like in that moment, it was almost like something happened to the dog and the dog essentially was startled, or the dog interpreted things differently in that moment. And that's what caused that almost ability to shut off, because they're almost making me feel like you saw like this weird, like, wall kind of in the dog. And even though you know this dog very well, I feel like it wasn't a normal reaction to you. And that got you too, because now you're questioning this animal that you also know too. And so they're really making me feel like this is bringing up a whole slew inside of you and how you're interpreting and how you're feeling and how you're going through things. I do want you to know that I think this was a fluke based on how they're giving it to me, but they are really making me feel, I actually want to tell you, like, I feel so bad for the dog too. And I know people are like, crazy Crystal here, but I feel like the dog feels so bad because the dog upset you. And that makes me sad too. See, tears again.
Well, that's where that
tuning
forgiveness
into dogs.
In with our heart cracked open and the forgiveness, because this is like a whole, like, it's just going to turn into one big compassionate experience.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know, like I said, dogs still have instincts, whether they are dogs and family and familiarized and domesticated. Dogs are still dogs and they still have instincts. And sometimes those instincts don't act appropriately, just like us humans don't. Okay. And so try to take a deep breath and try to forgive that beautiful animal, because I'm going to tell you, I don't feel like he meant for that to happen. And they're really showing me like it was just this weird fluke that took place. And I feel like I was just like so scared and so startled. Like I didn't realize what was happening around me, essentially, is what that was that took place. And I am so sorry still that you had to experience this in that way, because I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. So I am sorry. And I am sending you so much love, Carrie. I really, really, really am. And take your minute, like Mandee said. Take your minute. And when you want to refocus, then refocus. But I think you need a minute.
Carrie said that she believes that he didn't mean it and that he has never hurt her, and he thinks that he has looked for her and she's already forgiven him. So,
good.
Yeah, it really is
beautiful.
It's going to crack you open. And then we do need to go back up to Jennifer's comment.
Yes.
Too.
I'm going back up and I just found her. She was like, my
Okay.
question is, do you think some of the anxiety is due to control stuff? Absolutely. It's a lack of being in control. Absolutely,
Mm,
100%. I've already sat with that one. Ben and I have already had that conversation. Um, Crystal likes to control things because she had a lot of stuff earlier in life that she had no control of. And
mm,
also into her adult life with the marriage and the abusive situation and all of the things, there was a lot of lack of control, or my perception of lack of control is what I'm going to say, because all of us, we all have control, we all have choices to make in those moments, but sometimes we don't feel like we do. And so I didn't know at the time that I did have choices presented in front of me and I could make different moves. It's essentially, I felt stuck. And so in this last year and a half to 2 years, there's been a whole lot happening in our personal lives. And it's causing me to reflect differently on some of the experiences that I had as a child. It's causing me to reflect on traumas that I had in my own marriages and relationships that I had with certain family members. And so the things that he's dealing with are also triggering my things to heal as well. And so it's teaching me to be better within my space. And the anxiety that I have is due to me wanting to micromanage what things look like, to know that it's going to work out in the end. Because there have been so many times where it's like, I don't trust my own judgment. And that's Mandee and I were talking about that prior to. I still have a hard time trusting my own judgment because in the past, as an empath on steroids, we sometimes make judgment calls based on the heart instead of also intuitively connecting to all realms of communication that's being presented to us. And so we sometimes miss a lot of red flags. And I feel as though this is kind of stemming from, you've missed a lot of red flags in your life, or so you think. So you think those are all lessons. Hear me, hear me, hear me. These are all lessons. And so even though I may have missed those things and I was mad at myself, I am forgiving myself and I am moving through. And they're giving me different opportunities to trust and have faith and to be patient with the process. And essentially, I'm still trying to micromanage. So you hit the nail right on the head with that. It is 100% anxiety induced by Crystal's inability to control the situation, because they're like, got to make the choice today. And I'm like, whoa, 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 who says? So yes, 100%. That's exactly what it is. It's a lack of my own trust. And I feel like that's one of the biggest parts of what everything is of manifestation. When you're working hard to make big things, sometimes you have to take that leap off from the side of the cliff and just understand that they're there to catch you. You may not see them through the clouds. You might hear the crashing waters on the rocks. You may be like, holy hell, this is all going to happen and I'm going to die. But it's amazing, because once you take that leap of faith and once you know that you're protected, that's when the protection takes place and all things unfold in the most beautiful ways. And so it's really one of those things. It's like Crystal knows, but at the same time, she's still learning how to heal, let go, and move forward and digest a little bit differently. So yes, that's exactly what it's coming from.
yeah, that's a hard thing because people who are born with a much more empathic side to them, all they want to do is help stop the suffering of another person. And unfortunately, what happens is when we try to stop the suffering of someone else, sometimes we cause a disservice to that soul. Like, suffering is kind of attachment is the root of suffering. And when it comes down to like the whole consciousness thing, we all gotta, like, eventually we get to this place where we're learning that we are all one and we are all coming from the same place, and we're all coming from this beautiful non-physical realm of unconditional love and bliss and this amazing feeling. And so as empaths, that tuning into what other people are suffering can be our greatest weakness, but also our greatest strength. Mm-hmm. And after a while, after you sit with it, after you learn how to hold space and give space, you can put your hand out, you can give a ton of different resources, you can be there for someone. But each of us have to go through our own journeys. And I don't know a single person, a single healer, a single person who has made it to where they're at today and doesn't say, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I would go through everything I went through again just to be this person that I am today. How do you feel about that, Crystal?
Absolutely. Once again, a conversation that was just had, not only with the client, but also with Ben, because it's just like, He said, ignorance is bliss. And I was like, well, like, is it though? Because how many of us start our journey because we just get sick of everything and we are essentially having some sort of an emotional breakdown? Okay. So it's not really bliss. Is it blissful to be in a state of not being accountable, not being responsible, not taking any action, being addicted to drama, addicted to this? Is that blissful? Because we're really miserable. And a lot of these stages and steps of life, we're miserable. And it's not because we're miserable people. It's because we don't have the proper tools to get through those things in a different way. And once you open that door, your mindset is there in a different way. So even though those little callings and beckonings from the past of all those times where you were living in that blissful stage, I guess people say, you still feel those things kind of pulling you, but at the same time, you have this beautiful experience of knowing on some level that what you're experiencing is a good reality. And I would not change anything at all about my past at all, because it all put me where I am today. And it's really funny because even the most traumatic, dramatic, ugly situations that I'm still working on healing with, I still wouldn't change those either. Because I know that once I can unlock whatever it is that's like keeping me from moving forward and taking that step, that opens my door to a whole different set of clients. And I can't wait for that to happen. I can't wait for that shift to take place once Crystal's finally able to just say, okay, Crystal, let's just let go of this. It holds no space in our life today. Like, let's stop hanging on, gripping on, and let it go. That's when everything opens up for me. And that's when I level up personally. So with every step you go through, it's like you level up in the process as well. And that's when more doors open. That's when more manifestations come. That's when the feelings of success and love and internal peace, that's when those things start to open up. When you're in the midst of it, it's crazy, chaotic, blah, blah, blah. But at the end, it makes it really kind of all worth it, because it's a weird piece that I really can't describe to people unless they've been through it.
Yeah. So we just got to trust and start to hone in on our skills. There's amazing things that you can do if you are an empath and you feel like you're not able to control it. Like, the first thing you can do, take a few breaths, ask your angels to shield you, which is surround you in white and blue light and protect you. That goes right around your biomagnetic field, which we all learned through this COVID chapter. It goes 6 to 8 feet around us. It's our comfort zone. It's our bubble. It's when you're at the grocery store and you're reaching for the same thing that someone else is and you feel them in your zone. And what happens is your angels will come in and they'll protect you. They'll soothe you. If you're feeling overwhelmed and like you can't control everything, taking a few deep breaths, even if you're really sad and really upset, and going over 10 things you're grateful for. It neurologically distracts you. It raises your vibration into a higher level of consciousness and a higher feeling, which helps to pull us up out of overwhelm. And something I love to do is when there's a lot of people who I can't help and I want to help, I'll light a candle. I'll say, angels, I light this candle on behalf of who I'm caring about right now, who I wish I could help, who I wish I could make a difference, but I know I can't. I know it's not for the highest good. Will you please, help them, be with them for if it's for their highest good, and help me come back into being who I am right now and doing something that will help me for my own highest good. Because it really is, when it comes down to it, the only relationship we have our whole life is the one with ourselves. And that's the one that always needs the most love and attention and gets neglected the most too. So that's a great, we don't think to do that. We don't think like when we're, showing up for someone else or we're praying for someone else to remember to go back into us. Because if we're only thing we can truly do is give from an overflowing cup. So we got to fill up our cup.
That is exactly true. I'm going back up to Emily because she said, so helpful to hear. I control from a place of perceived danger, working every day to just have faith and know that I am. Beautiful. Absolutely. Angel says, thank you for explaining like that, Crystal. It's craziness. I do want to say we see you YouTube people, but we can't read your comments. And I am so sorry that is a thing. I don't know why they show up like that. It's weird, but it is what it is. And I'm so sorry. Andrea says, every trial is a lesson. Jennifer, our past don't define us, but help mold us, if that makes any sense. Sophia loves lighting candles, Mandee, and so do I. I have like these little votives throughout my house, and it's really funny because like they represent different things, but I have like my certain specific votives. Seth says, well said. Glenda, Crystal, I know you will be fine no matter where your location, but it's scary, so I definitely understand. I feel like it's not as scary as I'm making it out to be. It's literally just the jump on the plane and move And I'm not moving anyway. That's the fun thing. Like, I'm staying here in Michigan until my son's done with college this year. We've already decided. So we're going to be split up anyway for a couple months. It is what it is. We've already decided this. No matter where we go, I'm staying until Corey is done with his college like year. So Crystal has nothing to be scared of, really. Once again, micromanaging angels here because I feel like I can. Carrie says, yes, perfectly said, Mandee. Sheila says, Mandee Elam, I struggle with remembering to shield, especially when in a challenging situation presents itself. Help? Question mark.
Sending you love, Sheila. I love Sheila's just divine. And as soon as you do, that's the thing. When we start to plant little seeds to say, hey, when I'm triggered or when I'm struggling, I want to remember to do something to shift that. When we decide, okay, I don't want to really like feel this way anymore and I'm feeling challenged and I don't really like it, that's when we have the opportunity to remember that we can rely on strength. Oh, I love you too. That's when we can rely on strength, other than ourselves. And we can hand it over to God and the angels in the universe and say, hey, please surround me in white and blue light and protect me. I do it all the time, even if I'm just calling up even a family member who I love dearly, but I'm like, yo, they're spinning out. So I need to like put my shield up and just be there for them and send them love and then say, I got to go or whatever it is. So it's just about maybe taking a moment and practicing that pause, being more aware of our feelings and saying, I'm conscious and I'm aware that I'm being triggered in some way or another. I'm conscious and I'm aware that I want to shift this and I want to change this. So how can I do that? So taking those few deep breaths, asking the angels to surround us in white and blue light is great. I love the finger hold technique for anxiety. If you hold each finger for 30 seconds or more, it resets your entire system within 3 to 5 minutes. Just taking some nice deep breaths in and out of your nose. It helps to recalibrate everything because all of our acupuncture points, most of them, many of them, are attached to our fingers. And when our minds are spinning out, if we do something physical to shift that energy, it helps as well. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. And just remember, like, you are so strong, Sheila, and you are so powerful and you can control energy so quickly around you. And it's important to just take a moment and practice the pause. And my favorite affirmation for when things are just feeling disruptive is I am peace. And taking a few breaths and saying, I am peace in your heart, in your mind, in your head, however you want to do it out loud, it's fine. It helps so much. So those are just a few of my suggestions that hopefully help the cause.
So I like to tell people also to talk to your angels and your guides, specifically your angels, because they are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful helpers of us in our healing. And I always this is something that I did specifically on my journey when I first started out, because there were a lot of things that I had to practice the pause in because they were trying to teach me how to reflect on me and understand where I was coming from in situations that were contributing to what I was bringing into my life. And so I like to tell people to also bring in their angels and thank their angels and their guides and everybody else that surrounds them, to also help them understand in the moments what we need to do, because it can be different. Like Mandee just listed off a whole bunch of different things. Sometimes your anxiety might rise to a place where you really need to reset your space. Sometimes it's just like taking a deep breath. Sometimes it's just sitting within yourself and saying, okay, this is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm receiving about this situation, and then communicating to that person. So this is what you just said. Am I hearing you correctly? And so thank your angels and guides for helping guide your mindset also in those moments to know when to practice that pause and how to practice the pause in each moment that's represented to you. And I always say, ask for that to be for the highest good of all concerned. And they take over sometimes, and it's not like in a bad way, but they remind you in the moments of, okay. Like, remember you asked us to do this. A little bit of a red flag here. Remember, we were supposed to take a moment. Remember, Mandee said, surround yourself.
That's happening for everyone right now during retrograde. Yes. Retrogrades are the time where all the things that we learned and up-leveled, we got to practice what we preach now. We got to practice the things that we learned. We get a little tested on it. And there's never a better time than during retrogrades.
So Seth, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Seth said he was getting off. I don't know if you're still on here, Seth, but I am going to tell you, you have a father figure doing this to me. So I just want you to know you do have a father figure on the other side that's giving you lots of love. So I'm sorry, but he really is like, you, man, you and him. He's doing this to me, like you and him. I feel like you actually can connect with him differently now today than what you have been able to in the past. And I feel like he's like, it's about time, because I think it was really difficult for you to do. So congratulations on your journey, sir. You've gotten there. Tracy says, I love these lives. I bought the book, The Gifts Beneath My Anxiety. I am looking for a spiritual awareness class. Mandee, would it be too much to ask if you could pull a card for me?
Never, for Tracy.
Tracy's beautiful. Tracy, by the way, I still have your paperwork sitting here. I'm having issues with my computer. Sorry. There's your paperwork that I'm supposed to be typing up for you. My computer isn't allowing me to type it. So I'll let Mandee talk. I just wanted you to know I didn't forget about you.
Tracy, you got dance. Do something to shift your vibration. That's also one of the best tools that we can do, is literally like if we have anxiety, if there's a lot rising, if there's crazy things happening, dance is one of my favorite tools to do that. Anyone can do it in the privacy of their own home or room, into any kind of music or style. I had like a bunch of crazy back injuries, and I couldn't walk for a long time and different stuff. And I started just dancing like in my bed, and then chair dancing, and then moving slowly. And they're showing that it brings you joy. Music is also one of your medicines, and that there are like several things that you need to do as far as body, or they not need to, but they encourage you to do as far as body work to help shake it out, to help move things around, to pair it with a lot. They're showing you've done a lot of you're doing a lot of work in your head and a lot of thinking and trying to change things, as far as mindfulness and reprogram yourself, which is wonderful and beautiful. And they're so proud of you. And it's important to make sure we pair that with the body as well. Shake it out when you can, shift your vibration, use it as one of your medicines, and let it move through you. And they're just showing a lot of divine feminine energy moving through. And if you feel called to just let yourself intuitively soul dance in your room, let that happen. See what comes through, make crazy noises, and enjoy every moment of it. And you're really well on your way. And it's just about remembering that your body is catching up to where your mind is at as far as growing in consciousness.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love to dance. Yeah. That's actually something that they've invited back in. So I've been listening to a lot more music. I love the 80s pop stuff because it's just my jam. Footloose. Come on now. So cleaning my house, everything, and getting ready in the morning, I will put on some music, and then I'm just dancing, and I'm like, hey, it just revs me up for the day. It really breaks up a lot of energy. And I think people they underestimate how much energy it breaks up inside of us just to move our bodies. And it really does help a lot.
It's fascinating. And there's literally kids doing science projects where they're showing plants being, grown with different music being played around them, or affirmations being told to them, people telling them mean things, and then they end up looking really sad, and people telling them nice things, and they grow really tall. There's all kinds of amazing things to do that and to support with that and to help us. And dance is a huge one. And if you are an empath, it is really important to, be mindful of what's going on in the world and care about it, but not spend too much time there. And one of the best things you can do to help the collective is to raise your own vibration in whatever way you can.
Yes. Because that's what we're here for, is to help raise that vibration. It's so funny because a lot of people come, and I'm sure you've heard this too, Mandee, but a lot of people talk about empaths like they're supposed to take on the bad stuff, and they're supposed to turn it into light. And I'm like, no, that's not our job. We're not supposed to absorb negative energy and just turn it into something else. And it's also not our job to be a sponge. That is the shittiest way to think about yourself if you're an empath. Let me please just tell you, go stand by your sink, wet down a sponge, put some dish soap in that thing, and see how long it takes to get it all out. Okay? That is the crappiest way to internalize yourself as a human being. If you're talking about yourself like that, then you're not being the conduit of the light and moving the energy through. It's not supposed to sit in us at all. It's supposed to bypass. It's supposed to come from above. It's supposed to go through us, and then it's supposed to come out. That's it. That's what grounding's for. Get the divine, get the energy in from spirit, whatever we're supposed to be picking up on, and then move it through. Just keep moving it through. That's what we're supposed to do. We're batteries. So you have a plus, you have a negative. You're supposed to ground yourself out. Make sure you get that crap out of you. And dancing helps with that. Movement helps with that. Yoga helps with that. All of those things help with that. And so, if you're an empath, you're not a sponge. Please just stop saying that about yourself. My guides are like, where did that come from? They gave it to me, and that's what I used to teach in classes. I was like, we're batteries, y'all. It comes from this place, and it's supposed to be this constant movement of energy. And that's why it's so important to keep our chakras open and balanced and all those things, because if things get stuck in our energetic spaces, then that's going to make it a little bit harder for us to be that open conduit for all the things coming in the next step and stage of our life. And that's where the traumas, the dramas, the crazies come in. And that's when it gets stuffed up. And that's when we're like, I'm not doing that because the last time I did that, that sucks, or all men suck, or all women are crazy. That's where that gets stuck. And we're got to
we
move that
start to
through.
create our own suffering.
So just keep that in mind. Yeah, empathic people, we're not sponges. We're much better than sponges. So Alyssa says, thank you, Mandee. I needed to hear that message as well. Jennifer says, oh man, LOL, I'm glad she got a kick out of it. I do. I have this tiny old lady inside of me. There is this old woman that I cannot part ways with, and she just comes to the surface every now and then, and she cracks me up. But I love that, because it reminds me of my tiny little lady that I'm always constantly like, oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. So I dig it. I will call myself that. I will tattoo that on me, because I think it's the cutest, funniest thing, based on conversations I have with in private. Carrie says, bye, Seth. Thanks for stopping by. Emily, thanks for the tools. Sheila, thank you. XOXO. Seth says pennies. So I'm gathering he sees pennies or finds pennies. Stacy says, I had a batshit crazy moment a few weeks ago, and I believe my angels got in my head and said, oh, what the hell are you doing? My guides talk to me like that. They actually do. It's like a V8 commercial. They pound me in the head. Like, it actually feels like they're doing this to me. Like, are you kidding me right now?
I have those moments every now and then. Absolutely. And angels, they have a wicked sense of humor. Like, it is hilarious. And usually you're the only one laughing really hard. But when you get their messages, oh, it is real. And they have that ability. They work in the subtle realms more often than not. They try to send us subtle messages. It's much easier. That's where spirit lives, in the peaceful and the calm and the in-between. However, they will certainly give us a slap across the face if we need it. No doubt about it.
I love them. They keep me humble. That's why I tell people, like, their energy, it's like, okay, it's almost like this big parent system that I have that looks down upon me like, okay, really? You really just said that? You really did that? Okay, 2 steps back, Crystal. That's okay. It's part of the freaking process. Let's just do this. You've opened the door. Now we've got to go through.
Welcome
Come
to
on.
the radio.
Like, okay, let's get you through this one. And it's cute because they love you through it anyway. Yes. It may not be where they wanted you to go, but you opened the door, so let's do it. And now we're here. And so it is. It's wonderful how much they step into the process and teach us. And I'm going to have you, Mandee, go back through to the comments, because I've been taking over and reading all these, and I'm so sorry.
No, that's
stealing
okay.
Our thunder here tonight.
I wasn't paying attention. Where did we leave off? Let's see.
I left off at the Stacy Duke comment.
Did we get music can affect your vibration? Sophia said cleaning to Selena is my jam. Selena's, yes.
I love her.
Oh my God. That was one of my first empathic experience. I was in 4th grade when she was murdered, and I cried and cried, and I couldn't go to school for like 3 days, and it killed me. That and Princess Diana, I was so tuned into both of those experiences. And then 9/11, really, that's when like a lot of stuff, I was like 16 then, and a lot of crazy shit started happening.
Did you live in New Jersey then too?
I lived in New Jersey then. I moved to Vermont in 6th grade. So I went up there for junior high, high school, and college.
I was wondering if you were close to like this, then New Jersey's pretty close to when that happened. So yeah, I can see how that would affect you. I had a really hard time. I actually was pregnant with Corey when 9/11 happened. He was born like in 2001, October 14th, 2001. So it was like a month after all of that stuff happened. And it was like such a thing. I had to separate myself completely from it. And it was really hard because I was living with my mom at the time, and she really loves to watch all of the news. Yeah. And so I was like, I had to separate myself because it was causing way too much in me, and I had to prepare to have my child. So it was a situation in a different way. Like, you were so close to the situation, and I bet it really.
I was living in Vermont, Vermont when that happened, but I had kids whose parents worked at, the World Trade Centers and things like that in my class. And it was just a whole crazy thing, but it really opened up my psychic gifts. And like I said, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. However, Seth said that he can't leave because we've been keeping him hooked, so that's awesome. Gary said, that's how we roll, man. Said that music can affect your vibrations, no doubt about it. Trisha passed off the book Gifts Beneath Your Anxiety to her daughter because she's been having some difficulties. So that's really nice. I'm sure that that'll help be an amazing tool. And Tracy said that her kids love, 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 love when she dances. She said, thank you. And Crystal, you have so much going on. I know that you'll get me when you can, and I'm working on your suggestions one day at a time.
It's like, I'll get you when my computer lets me. Maybe Spirit's saying, hold on before we send her the paperwork because we're going to let her work on these things first, like what your notes are. And then they're going to, because literally it's like locked me out. I don't know what's going on. It's the weirdest thing. I'm like,
Mercury
okay.
retrograde. It'll all come back. And if you're having a hard time during a retrograde, right now we have Mercury and we have Venus. So when I pray in, I take a deep breath. We can all do it right now. This is a tool for everybody. This is how we can shield and ground and take a few seconds of soul space and how you call in your team. So what I do is I bring my hands to my heart or prayer position or open in meditation, whatever feels best and most comfortable. Close your eyes and let's take a few deep breaths. In through our nose. Hold it. And release. In through our nose. Hold it. And release. Last one. In through our nose. Hold it. And release. Angels, archangels, spirit guides, helper beings of the highest good, our higher selves, ancestors, creator, sea goddess, Venus, and Mercury. Thank you so much for being with all of us on Spirit Speaks tonight. Thank you for surrounding us in white and blue light and protecting us as you pass along any messages, light codes, healing notes, or frequencies we may need. Thank you for continuing to be with us, as you always are, throughout the rest of our journeys. And so it is. Amen. Aho. And take a breath. And come on back. Takes like 30 seconds and you'll literally feel a bubble come around you. And it feels so amazing and so peaceful and grounding. You can do that out loud. You can do that quiet to yourself, whether you're at work. You can do it when you're driving down the car. You don't have to close your eyes, but you can take a few moments of peace and ask your angels to come in and shield you. It helps so much and it makes all the difference. How are you feeling, Crystal?
When I feel it, I don't feel the bubble. What I feel, it's almost like, release from the chest, pressure from the chest. It's an openness that I receive. It's almost like the good and then the release of pressure. So it's more like, I don't know, a plug being opened or a drain being opened and then like allowing it all to go out. And I absolutely love that feeling. And I feel like a lot of people struggle sometimes with that, more so because if they've never done it and they aren't if they haven't practiced it enough, it doesn't feel immediately sometimes because we don't know what we're looking for and are we doing it right? And then once again, that brain thing takes over. And so it's a beautiful experience to just, and this is like the only time I say fake it till you make it, because in our mind is our most powerful tool. So if you feel like you're grounding and you feel like the angels are with you, or if you feel protected, all you have to think it into reality. And so in that moment, if you have a hard time feeling an actual physical thing, like Mandee and I feel in different ways, but if you have a hard time feeling that, keep practicing, because the more you work at it, the more you're going to feel them, because the more you're going to trust that you have a team. And a lot of us come from crazy backgrounds where we didn't feel like we could trust people to be there to catch us when we fell or always hold us when we were at that bad state of being in our mind. And sometimes that's really, really hard because it's an instability that's formed as children. And so we essentially are kind of like in this mindset of we have to, because we're the only ones that can. Once again, Crystal here, remember, back story. And so in those moments, you really have to fake it till you make it, and it will come. for the first 2 years when I first started this out, I really had no clue if what I was doing was working because I felt nothing associated with it. I was at such an apathetic perspective in my life where I didn't really feel anything other than anger, bitterness, and pissed. That's where I was when I first started my journey. And so the door to open to the love was really difficult for me in my own life. And I am forever grateful to channeling for spirit, because that was really the only spirit taught me how to feel love. They taught me what love was. And so the more you practice, the more you allow it in, the more you say thank you, the more you give gratitude for them surrounding you. Even if you don't feel it, the more you're going to feel it. And so it's a journey. It's always going to be a journey. You're always learning, constantly shifting, always changing. So if you don't feel it or you feel frustrated in those moments, just remember, even though you're still doing the work, you're still doing the job, it's still happening, it's still working. And keep yourself mindful. And like Mandee said, whenever you need to repractice that, then call your people back in, take your deep breaths, do your reset, do your tapping, do whatever it is that you need to do in those moments to reground you, to help you feel safe, secure, and well with your space. That's really all that is understanding that we're always protected and surrounded, because sometimes on earth realms it doesn't feel like that. So it's teaching ourselves that it's there, even though we might be in a crazy situation, like somebody said before, that batshit crazy moment. That's what that's for. So
more trust building all day, every day, trust building up here in Earth School. Sophia also mentioned we don't absorb, but can we transmute bad energy? I believe we can. I believe that's what sage is for, and all kinds of things. And it's about deflecting and reflecting. And we transmute it simply by not giving it energy, simply by not, as the number one thing, to not give it your energy. Or like, you know, if you and your spouse had a fight in the kitchen, or if you, just got home and you had a bad day, light a little bit of sage, do a twirl in it, ask it to clear it out and to transmute this energy, because energy really in this realm can't be created or destroyed. It can only be shifted and transmuted. So it can only be shifted into something else. So I think we absolutely have that power. No doubt about it.
I bless it with love. I bless it. Like Ben and I, when we're in like conflict, I will thank team people for coming in and sending a beam of pink light and love from my heart to his. I will thank them for helping him see through my perspective and me see through his. I will bless him with love, or bless other people with love, or bless a situation with love, because that's the way that I feel like I'm placing light into the situation. Do it how you feel guided to do. But at the end of the day, it is transmittable. It's knowing when we should and when we shouldn't, like Mandee said. It's kind of like, when is it ours and when is it not ours? As empaths, we have to understand that boundary line. We have to have those lines that we don't cross, because a lot of times we want to transmute other people's stuff for them, but we can't, because it's not ours to figure out. And so we can't save or fix somebody else's issues, problems, traumas, dramas, upset, blah, 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 even though we really want to take that on for other people. So it's knowing when the right time to do that, and knowing when the right time isn't to do that. And sometimes we can just bless them with love and understanding and clarity for their path. And that's also changing the energy around the situation. So yes, we can. That's kind of the job in all forms of healers. But at the same time, knowing when to give it the proper energy and when not to take it on is also part of the empathic balance
that's
system.
The discernment journey, and we get many moments to learn and to practice that. Your beautiful partner Ben gave us a fun fact that Masaru Emoto was a Japanese businessman, author, and pseudoscientist who claimed that human consciousness could affect the molecular structure of water. This is backed up. We're at this beautiful place where science and spirituality are merging, and they have to, in order for us to grow and ascend and co-create this new earth. And thanks, Ben, for showing that, because that's something that we are seeing over and over again. And I have so much faith in all these kids and all of us and people waking up and remembering just what we're capable of in these realms. And this is like a beautiful way that we're starting to really notice that.
Yes. And it's funny because I recently just saw something on tears. It was taken, like microscopic pictures taken of tears, like somebody who's crying based on grief, somebody who's angry, somebody who blah, blah, blah. And all these different tears are they look so different. And so that's kind of, I mean, like, I know it's not the same, but that's what came to mind when you were reading that was, energy changes things. The energy of what's experienced in that moment, it changes the things around us, no matter what it is. It is energy. It's so beautiful. I don't know. There's so many cool things. My rheumatologist today, I had an appointment with her, and she was talking about how she is like so opening up to all these aspects of like what it is that we teach, and also how it like goes hand in hand. And she was like, so I was just reading this book, and I thought it was really interesting because like somebody was talking about the heart and how, you know, it's a cardiologist who I guess went way down the spiritual realm and now has like been kicked out of her field.
Oh, there's crazy. A lot of them. Thank you and thank you
like,
for being brave.
And she was like, and I thought it was really weird because she talked about the heart and she talked about trauma, and she talked about how, you know, when people have high cholesterol, it's because of toxins that could be emotionally stuck in the liver system. And she was so open to all of that stuff, and she's starting to read all of these books because science is actually starting to prove all of the things that spirit has been saying for centuries. And it's a beautiful experience to be alive right now in that moment in time and see how science is starting to put the two and two together. I always tell people, I think that spiritual and science work together. I think the universe and science is part and one and the same. It's just how we interpret and how we see it and how it comes together for us. But it's being proven differently every day. And I think it's beautiful to be alive in a place where we're like, see, told you so. Spirit is cool.
We say you can heal your life. One of our Bibles, yep. Cholesterol, clogging the channels of joy, fear of accepting joy. In order to fix it, the affirmation is, I choose to love life. My channels of joy are wide open. It is safe to receive. Cholesterol issues come in when we're having a really hard time letting ourselves receive, letting ourselves accept that joy, letting ourselves actually find a funny bone and giggle when we're making ourselves dance, like that kind of thing. Yep. If we're choking it out, we're going to have some cholesterol issues. And it's really nice for people to start looking at everything so holistically.
I think it's wonderful. All of the things. Holy crap, we have a lot of comments. So Jennifer says, if came to me, not sure why, but flows like butter. And I'm sure we were saying something at that point in time. I don't know what that was in regards to. Seth says, you told me the story of the pennies, which is where I see you're the real deal a long time ago. Of course, it's funny how spirit has there's a whole story with my mom. So like sometime on my other show, I'll have her talk about how she thought I was a complete lunatic. And so that was fun, but spirit came to her and she was like, okay, so now I know she's got something going on. I don't know what it is, but it's different. Stacy Duke says, absolutely. Oh my gosh, oh my God. I'm October 14th. My son is October 14th also. Emily says, Dr. Stephanie Seneff talks a bit about the special structured water in the body. And thanks for that info. Carrie says, my son was 2 weeks old on 9/11 and going with me to college. Our boys are so close in age. Yes, they are. Glenda, yes. I'm not sure what in regards that was to also, but I'm sure it was some fun. Jennifer, Mandee, you're glowing as always. Do you have any recommendations for people who are deconditioning? Is there anything to make the transition more comfortable? That's a beautiful question. That's a good question.
Beautiful question. Many things. Number one, if you're accepting, okay, I'm more conscious, I'm unprogramming, I'm reprogramming things, I'm deconditioning. It's important to get yourself some new structure to tune into. As we're releasing all the old things, it's important to tune into what our medicines are and create a little bit of time to do that. Jennifer, I'm sure you don't mind me sharing, is someone who's got a lot going on and she's got 4 kids and she hustles and she's absolutely amazing. But it's really important to maybe start each day or find a few moments each morning where you can have some soul space. Go over 10 things you're grateful for. Ask the angels to surround you in white and blue light. Maybe set an intention. Maybe ask your heart what it wants most at this time. Then allow your intuition to lead. The cool thing about when we start to reprogram, spirit drops us in all the things we need all the time. You're going to find rabbit holes. You're going to start seeing like a YouTube video and wanting to learn more about something or research or jump in and read books and things like that. Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life is, like, again, one of my favorite things. It's also free on YouTube, so you can listen to it. There's also another book that I love that was written in the 80s as fiction, but it's called The Celestine Prophecy. And it really helps us learn how to start following our intuition and trusting the world around us and what's happening for us and our individual soul's plan at this time. Another thing that I like to do is just make sure you do get to spend some time with some like-minded people, have some conversations once a week, set up a Zoom date with someone who it feels safe to talk to. And yeah, do every time, you know, and I, like I said before, finding something to drop into our bodies, whether that's yoga or dance or walking in the woods or surfing or going to the gym or hitting, you know, a punching bag, whatever it is, make sure that your mind, your body, and your soul are being nurtured. And I also, you know for Jennifer that she's really working on that. And you've been bringing in a lot of healthy foods and detoxing and different things. And all of that is going to support you. I say be gentle on yourself. Let each of the tools that you're bringing in, give them all ample time. Let them work for you and through you.
Absolutely. Everybody is saying yes, yes, yes. And that was when you were doing that beautiful reset space, calling in the angels. Everybody is like, I feel lightness. I feel like a weight lifted off of me. Tons of people are saying, yay. And then Ben says, our bodies are 75% water. Jennifer says, that could be a meme, Mandee. LOL. You guys need a fire button. LOL. Emily says, it's so amazing. The structures are different. And then Sophia says, I tell my daughter all water is alive. So now she talks to it during bath time. That's beautiful. I love that. I love that she talks to her water. That makes me so
one
happy.
of the best manifesting tricks. If you pray over your water and stuff and you say into it, like, you know, a lot of people use it for manifesting money. And like every time you drink some water, like, I am wealthy, I am rich, you can do, I'm healthy, I am, you know, love. Like, it's so amazing how it listens to you and how our cells actually respond to it. And we've got facts coming in here to prove it.
Yes, yes, yes. So Lord, you guys are amazing. You are on fire tonight.
This is really good night. Yeah,
I was like, you guys are awesome. I'm like sitting here reading all these comments, and it's like, how awesome. So
Crystal and I before the show, I'm like, what's up? You all right? Because she had her sinus infection going on, and I've been like battling a bit of a headache, and I haven't wanted to take any, like, I usually take a leave, and I'm like, I just don't want to. I did an awesome yoga that helped, and we're like, I don't know, let's just jump on and see what happens. And it's been an amazing night, and you guys showed up for us and like helped us to shine the light. So thank you.
And we are at Emily. It says, yes, bring light to the medical field. Jennifer, did you happen to see an article about trauma being passed through DNA? I did not, but I have seen other things on that. And I don't know. It's astonishing and astounding and all of the things to see how much people are starting to put the two and two together, which also goes hand in hand with karmic systems. When we talk about karmic ties and family cycles and all of these things, maybe it's not genetic. Just because somebody else is an alcoholic or addiction runs in the family doesn't mean that it has to run in you. You can stop the process. And you know, it's just changing the core structure of our DNA by our thoughts and our feelings. And that's what part of this is manifesting our different self into our own life and into our own structure. And I think it's a beautiful experience. I don't know. I just love it. Emily says, yes. Sophia, science and spirituality remind me of Metatron's cube and math. And math. I just love Sophia. I can almost like feel her and see her energy when reading her comments. I love her.
Sacred
Tracy,
geometry is a real thing, and sacred numerology, and it's all bridging in, and it's a way that a lot of our downloads come in.
Yes, it is. And it's really funny. Like, I don't know. I'm not a math girl. I'm really not. That's just not my jazz. Pointy things do me no justice. I'll just say it like that. But my son, holy crap, the way he sees, he's 100% science. And it's really funny to have conversations with him because we see very different, but we talk about the same things in just very different ways in our understanding. So it helps us understand each other. Beautiful to be able to connect with that and be open. Tracy says,
Totally.
I have that book too. It's in my need to read stack. I keep it with me. I've actually went one step further and I've highlighted things just so I can like find them easier. And so read the book because it's a beautiful book. She gives amazing the stuff that comes before you get to the diagnoses and the whys and the affirmations. Amazing things
like
that
a
she puts
cornerstone
into
to
perspective.
consciousness. It's like
It
consciousness
is.
101. I call her like the fairy godmother, and she helps us like create a new 0 point within our minds so that we can start reprogramming.
Yeah, and it's like it puts it into a perspective where even if you might not be able to grasp it fully, you think about it. And you sit with it and digest it. It took me about a year to get into this book. Mandee had mentioned it to me. I bought it and it sat on a shelf, and then I read part of it and I was like, not feeling this right now. But that's kind of the cool thing about books and knowledge and all of the things. If somebody sends it to you, keep it. Keep it, because it's being sent to you for a reason. And even though it may not be for you right now, it might be for you at some other point in time in your life.
Oh yeah, the books show up and there's always divine time. And like I said, it's free on YouTube. Let me say, you can heal your life. You can let her read it to you.
So I'm going through and I'm going down because it is after 8:00, and I do have to eat, and I don't know what you have going on, but everybody's having beautiful conversations with each other too. And I love that as well. You guys are fantastic and amazing.
Stacey said she saw a shadow go behind me. That's cool.
Mandy's got tons of fun stuff that happens around her. I love her little beams of light that I always see around her all the time. She has actual orbs that take place. I always see angel orbs around her. I know they're angels because I see them in color differentiation. So pinks, blues, lavenders. So you have all these beautiful angels that surround you. I'll see if I can find it. I'm sure you can Google it. I won't give too much away, but you may be surprised how far it goes back. Def a good read. Stacy says it was fast. Ben says, thank you. I'm a researcher and will definitely check it out. Jennifer, thank you. Trisha, Jennifer, there's a study on historical trauma with Native Americans. Jennifer says, you're welcome. I am as well. I love learning new things. It was wild in a good way. I am hoping they continue studies. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. There are some, the Forever Family Foundation has a beautiful group of scientists that work with healers, psychics, empaths, all the things to help bring consciousness and the understanding of consciousness to the surface. And it all started really because they wanted people to understand that just because people passed over to the other side did not mean that they were dead. They wanted people to understand that energy exists after the body passes. And so that's what kind of started the train of thought process here. But the Forever Family Foundation has the most amazing people, and they have so many different books, pamphlets, talks, podcasts, all the things that are, if you're a scientifically based person and want to know more about the connection between the two, I always recommend them. They're phenomenal people, and they work hand in hand with people like Mandee and I. So it's even cooler to see that because they're open to it. And then, that's beautiful. Thank you, ladies. Thank you both for creating this special space. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Always enjoyable information. Bless you both. And then another thank you. So thank you all for tuning in with us tonight.
Yes.
You have helped us both tonight. What a good night. See, Carrie, don't be sad or shocked about information that you shared. This is a safe place, and that's why Mandee and I do it. So just understand that. Don't have to apologize to us.
And a beautiful container. And like, we love connecting with you. Crystal, how do they work with you if they want to?
Mitten Medium. I keep it the same everywhere. If you want to find me on YouTube, and also my Facebook page. I've been locked out of my Facebook page also, like on Facebook. Yeah, Facebook, I can't do anything with my Mitten Medium page. People think I'm crazy, but I can't get on there. I can't do anything. Like, I can post stuff to the page, but I can't share from it. I can't do anything else. So it's just a weird energy field around these things. I really think I'm supposed to be focusing more on the Spirit Speaks version of what I've kind of contributed to the growth, because it's more of my teaching field versus my just mediumship field. And so I think there's a reason for all of the things, but connect with me on the Spirit Speaks page and my YouTube Spirit Speaks. My actual website is midmittenmedium.com. Mandee, how can everybody contact you? And also all of the Sea Goddess Healing Arts people, because you have a whole team that works also around you, and they all contribute amazing things to the growth of all of us. So how can they connect with you guys?
We do. We've got a cool collective going on, and it's SeaGoddessHealingArts.com. We have a free blog each month where we send out, it's called a soul broadcast, and each of the Sea Goddess members share content with that. So there's all kinds of how-tos and different things and free resources. We also have a YouTube channel where you can see this show and a bunch of other shows on our Sea Goddess Healing Arts YouTube. I'm teaching a class coming up in about a month, actually, February 16th, how to build a relationship with your angels. It's an online class. You can go onto our website, See Goddess Healing Arts, under classes to sign up for that. It's on Zoom. That's always a good time. We have all kinds of different festivals and events coming up soon. We're based in Atlantic City, New Jersey, but we have a network of healing artists throughout the world. And we also work with lots of different people in lots of different places. And that's how Crystal and I have been able to continue working with one another. And we just connect, even though I'm in New Jersey right now and she's in Michigan, it all works out beautifully. So we thank you for your support, and we're so excited that you guys are all here and you tuned in, and we'd love to work with you more. And yes, please give us a like, a follow, a subscribe for See Goddess Healing Arts, and for Mitten Medium and Spirit Speaks on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We are there, and we love to hear from you guys.
You guys all have a beautiful night. Mandee, also, you have a beautiful night. I hope that your headache kind of dissipates and goes away.
It's
so
gone.
You can.
I feel great.
Awesome. So much awesome. I love that.
Yes, and I
well,
hope
you have a good night.
Your sphenoids keep clearing on out for you. You too.
You have a great night, hon. Thank you guys all. You have a blessed night as well. Have a great rest of your week, and we will tune in next week.
Bye. Thanks.